Right. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Dear participants, distinguished guests, we most welcome you to this webinar today, and thank you for creating time to participate. It's a webinar that is going to be looking at our Ethics Education Fellowship journey, right from our inception in the year 2022, exploring what has been done, what are our lessons learned, good country, good practices, lessons learned, and including good outcome case studies that we are going to hear from the participating countries today. Just to mention that the Ethics Education Fellowship has drawn participation from a multi-stakeholder approach where we have had schools, we have parents, we have intercultural exchanges and learning. And this modality has really helped in terms of bringing ethics education into the classroom, to the individual persons and the community at large, up to including policy dialogues, influence in curriculum, and teacher training as we get to hear from different countries. And the countries that have been participating in the fellowship include Bangladesh, Kenya, Indonesia, Mauritius, Nepal, and Seychelles. But for the purposes of the webinar today, we are going to hear from Indonesia, Seychelles, Bangladesh, and Mauritius. And I just invite all of us to be active, to participate. Let us use the chat option to introduce ourselves. We'll put our name and put the institutions that you're representing. But we'll also use the chat option to also share our questions and reflections as we move on to the webinar. And perhaps we could move on, Sanjani, to look at the objectives of the webinar today. And the key objectives are basically two. And these are, we are exploring innovative and reflective good case practices from the Ethics Education Fellowship, up to including the classroom implementation, any extracurricular activities that have come up from this fellowship. We know there have been learner-led initiatives, and again, we know there have been options of and initiatives to support teacher professional development, integration of ethics education into curriculum, policy development that has helped to adapt and contextualize ethics education in each of the 6 countries. And then our second objective will be to identify lessons learned, transferable strategies, and recommendations from country experiences. Country experiences will inform adaptations, scaling and sustainability of the ethics education initiative in diverse educational contexts. And just to note that one of the key things we take home also as we continue the implementations and from our lessons learned is that it has been a whole school approach, that every education stakeholder in the school context has been engaged and has been very productive in terms of shaping how ethics education is incorporated in the many different strategies adapted by each country. So with no further ado, I think we want to welcome the first round of presentations. We'll have two presentations, a set of two presentations for each, and then we'll take a 10 minutes for question and answer and reflections before we can go to the second set. So, and our first presenter, allow me to introduce our first presenter. The presenter will be from Indonesia, and we're going to have Ms. Sani Novika. Ms. Sani Novika is a partnership focal point at the East Java Teacher Training Center, Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education in Indonesia. And the theme of the presentation from Indonesia is on weaving ethics, education, insights from Indonesia. So, Ms. Sani, you have the floor to share your experiences.
Thank you so much, Virginia. And I would like also to acknowledge my distinguished fellow speaker from Bangladesh, Seychelles, and Mauritius. It is a pleasure to join you today and to learn from the diverse experience being shared. Um, Sanjani, could you please help me to present? Right, and it's a pleasure to share a good case practice from Indonesia. It demonstrates our efforts how we have contextualized the ethic education framework within our educational context. And this approach has been implemented across the 5 ethic education fellowship pilot schools on the first and the second phase, and representing the diverse setting, including multicultural, multi-faith communities. But today's I will focus on examples from the primary school levels, from the Karya Yosef Primary School in Pontianak, a city widely recognized as a vibrant melting pot of the indigenous tribes of Dayak, Malay, Chinese, and Japanese communities. But this approach has also been implemented through multi-religious settings and any other diverse community in Indonesia. Okay, thank you so much. To begin, let me briefly set the national context. And Indonesia is one of the world's most geographically and culturally diverse countries. More than 257 million people live across 17,000 islands. We are home to 1,340 ethnic groups, over 700 spoken languages, and 6 officially recognized religions. So this diversity is indeed a blessing, but also a present challenge for any education interventions, including the ethic educations. So the biggest questions, if when we involve in this program, is how can a school make ethic education relevant to the students from the diverse cultures and community backgrounds, and while promoting shared ethical value. So our experience suggests that there is no one size fits all approach. So therefore, we contextualize the ethic education framework from bottom up approach to reflect learners' local reality, where remain aligned with national educational goals and share ethical principles. So today, I would like to show how one primary school translates this approach into practice. Next, please. The next slide, please.
Sanjani, if you can move to the next slide.
So maybe while waiting for our slide to move, so let me continue my presentation. So instead of introducing a new approach, the school connected 3 complementary elements. We combine local value uh, by providing the context. So the school partner with cultural readers to identify ethical value that already embedded within local tradition, such as the values such as respect, mutual cooperation, responsibility, and care for others that already been accessed through each community. And then second, the national curriculum define the learning outcomes. The school align this local value within national character competencies, ensuring that ethic education remain relevant to local context while supporting national learning goals. And third, through the transformative pedagogy from ethic educational fellowship, guide the learning process. Teachers create opportunity for students to explore, discuss, and apply this value through dialogue, collaborative learning, reflection, student leadership, teacher role modelings, and parents engagement. Do you want me to share my own presentation? So
Yes, Sunny, I think that's maybe better. I think there's some technical issue. If you can please go ahead, share.
okay, wait. Okay. So this is the three principles that combining that we use to contextualize ethic education through community partnership. And here's the good case from the Karya Joseph primary schools. So the next step was to translate this approach into everyday learning. So the school begins by facilitating dialogue among cultural readers, teacher and student. These conversations help identify the ethical values embedded that already embedded within different cultural traditions, while recognizing both shared values. So then teachers explore how this value could support student ethical learnings through curricular, intracurricular, as well as co-curriculars and extracurricular. So then the school integrated a local ethical value into classroom discussions, learning activities, and existing character building programs. So this helps students connect ethical learning with their own cultural background and everyday experience. So then the implementation is also extended into the whole school approach. So this school also engage teachers, student families, and the wider education community in this implementation program. So first, a teacher collaborated through the establishment of an ethic task force. The task force supported teacher by facilitating ethical discussion, designing learning activities, sharing good practices, and coordinating ethic education across the school. This collaborative structure also helped maintain continuity beyond individual teacher or school leader. So when teachers maybe they move to other schools, so this is an effort to maintain the sustainability of this approach. And then second, student took active roles as student character leadership. So then students were encouraged to practice ethical value through leadership and services. They participated in daily and school-wide activities, including morning greeting, peer support, environmental project, leadership camps, and classroom and share classroom responsibilities. This experience provide opportunity to develop responsibility, empathy, collaboration, communication skill in these schools. And third, parents engagement. So the parent becomes an active partners in ethical education. So the parent association reinforce the school monthly character teams at home. The monthly character team is mobilized through the dialogues from the cultural leaders in the first effort. So it's help create shared responsibility for student ethical learnings between family and also the school. So it's also an effort to share ownership of this ethic education's intervention in the school. And finally, the school extended its learnings beyond its own community. So as neighboring school become interested in ethic education, so the school also share through workshop, best practices, exchange, collaborative reflective sessions, and these activities have strengthened collaboration among school and supported the development of a growing learning networks. And also, this school also collaborate with teacher training centers in their provincial level. That's already been explained in the previous webinar. So, all right, and through reflection during the learning cycle, the school identify some lessons. First, that connecting ethic educations help students to understand more and also to share ownership in these ethical values. And second, collaborative structures such as ethic task force create opportunity for teachers to learn from one another and increase their confidence in facilitating ethical discussion and integrating ethic into teachings. And third, providing a leadership opportunity that enables students to practice ethical value in everyday situations, while partnership with family reinforce this value at school, at home level as well. And finally, sharing experience with neighboring school highlighted the value of peer learning and collaboration in supporting the wider adoption of ethic education. So while this reflection come from one school pilot, they provide practical insight that relevant to other schools, such as in East Java, where the province is well recognized in multi-religious setting. It also has been applied in that setting as well. And so this approach is an effort to contextualize within their own communities. So then the recommendations for us is based on the experience. We would like to offer 4 recommendations. First is begin with the local context by identifying values, strengths, and cultural resources that already exist within the community. Second, align local value with the national curriculum so that education remain relevant while supporting national learning goals. And third, engage community members, including cultural leaders and family, to enrich learning through local knowledge and life experience. And finally, adopt a whole school approach by embedding ethics across teaching, school leadership, student participation, family engagement, and peer network. So then this intervention is quite new in Indonesia because mainly the intervention is from top-down approach. So the one program should be implemented within the school, but through the dialogues from Ethic Education Fellowship. So the fellows they found that from bottom up approach as well is also effective in nurturing ethic education. So then the final reflections. Our experience suggests that contextualizing ethic education begin with understanding the local context, and every community has its own culture, tradition, and way of learning. By building on these strengths through dialogue, collaboration, and shared responsibility, school can connect local value within broader educational goals. So this experience demonstrates Indonesian effort in the importance of adapting the ethic education framework in way that are student-centered and meaningful for student and its community as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing the reflection and the case study from Indonesia. Thank Ms. Sunny for that. And allow me to introduce our second speaker of the day. And our speaker is from Seychelles, who will be sharing on a whole school approach in Praslin Island. And we're going to hear from Mrs. Nadege Medol, who is a deputy head teacher for support services, Grand Hanse Praslin Primary School, Ministry of Education, Seychelles. And just to speak a bit more of Ms. Medal, she is an experienced educational leader with extensive expertise in classroom teaching and school administration. As deputy head teacher, she leads key areas including student welfare, safeguarding, pastoral care, inclusive education with a strong focus on creating supportive learning environments where every child can thrive. She is widely recognized for her expertise in educational leadership, holistic child development, values-based and ethics education, positive behavior support, social-emotional learning. She's a strong advocate for transformative pedagogy, ethical citizenship, peaceful coexistence, promoting empathy, respect, and responsible decision-making in schools. Her leadership extends beyond education through her active engagement in community service and social cohesion initiatives. The floor is yours, Mrs. Medal, to share with us the whole school approach in Praslin in Seychelles. Over to you.
Thank you. Hello all, distinguished facilitators, fellow educators, and participants. My name is Nadege Medol, Deputy for Support Services at Kotaspire Primary School in Seychelles. It is a privilege and honor to represent both my school and the Republic of Seychelles today. I will share our journey of how ethics education has transformed our school culture through values-based education, reflection, and meaningful community engagement. Our experience shows that when values are lived every day, they positively influence learners, staff, facilities, and the wider community. Our school motto, Together as One, reminds us that every learner deserves dignity, respect, compassion, and the opportunity to succeed. This motto guides every decision we make and became the foundation of our ethics journey. The next slide, please.
If we can move to the next slide.
Yes, please. Next slide, please.
Perhaps you can share from your end. I think we are having a technical challenge and apologies for that.
Okay.
Just give a second. Eleonora, could you project? I will stop sharing it. You share again.
Mm.
Can you see it now? Not yet?
Not yet. Okay.
Still no.
Sanjani, we can now see the screen without full. Don't put it
Okay.
full screen. Problem is when you put
Okay.
it full. So if you can
Mm.
move to slides between here, I think it's okay.
It's ready.
Can you move to the next slide and back?
That's it's okay.
Can you
Okay,
see
I'm
the
ready.
slide?
Can I continue, please?
Yes, please.
Yes, yes.
The Ethics Education Fellowship encourages us to reflect deeply on our practices. We ask ourselves, how do we move beyond teaching values to helping learners live them every day? That reflection transformed our approach and inspired many of our initiatives. Okay, next slide, please. On the fourth slide. Okay. Fourth one. It's the fourth slide. Monthly values is the fourth one. The fourth slide, please. Monthly values. Monthly values, PSC, and presentations. The fourth one. Every month, our school focuses on one value. It is introduced during assembly, reinforced every Thursday through PSC lessons, and brought to life through learner presentations, songs, poems, and role plays. This consistency helps values become part of our everyday life. Next slide, please. Respect and inclusion. Our anti-bullying campaign teaches empathy, kindness, and respect. Learners actively participate in creating a safe and inclusive school where everyone feels valued. Next, please. Next slide, please. It's the next slide, please. The sixth one. Students' leadership. Playground wardens model positive behavior, support younger learners, and encourage peaceful conflict resolutions. This initiative develops responsibility and leadership. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next, please. Number 7, please. Slide 7. Yes, thank you. Environmental responsibility. Ethics also includes caring for our environment. Through eco-warriors, learners practice teamwork, stewardship, responsibility for nature. Next slide, please. Slide 8. Slide 8, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, slide 8.
Please go ahead and present. I think the slide transition takes a bit of time, but go ahead and explain, and the slide will come up.
Thank you. Inter-school retreat, behavior retreat. It's in an inter-school affair. The retreat brought learners together to develop confidence, communication, resilience, and positive behavior. It also strengthened collaboration between schools. Partnerships, networking. We partnered with 2 schools and completed 3 exchange visits, sharing ideas and strengthening ethics education together. Compassion in action. Community outreach. Ethics comes alive through service. We supported 6 families with groceries, prepared care hampers for those who were ill, visited the Grand Asparane Old People's Home, and supported members of our community during bereavement. These experiences help learners practice compassion and empathy. We observed improved learner behavior, stronger relationships, increased empathy, teamwork, and responsibility. Our school community has become more caring and supportive. Continuous improvement. Reflection is now embedded in our school culture. It helps us evaluate our work and ask how we can continue helping learners live the values we teach. Transformation. Values. Value-based education is no longer just a program. It is part of who we are. We have seen learners become more respectful, responsible, and compassionate, and our school culture has become stronger because ethics is lived every day. As I conclude, I return to our motto, together as one. Ethics is not an additional subject. It is a way of life. We hope our journey inspires other schools to create environments where values are lived every day. Thank you for allowing me to represent Grand Asparane Primary School and the Republic of Seychelles. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Mrs. Meadow, for the presentation and the sharing of experiences from Seychelles. Very deep, very reflective, and very real. And also bearing on the two presentations that we've had from Indonesia, presented by Ms. Sani, and the presentation from Seychelles. We want to take a 10-minute session for question and answer and reflections. Dear participants, if you can please post any questions on the chat, and then I think Suchit will help us read through any questions on the chat. But maybe before that comes up, I just have one reflection point we would want to hear from Indonesia. And just noting that Indonesia has implemented ethics education in different geographic regions, focused on different thematics and for different age groups, right from early childhood to adolescence. How was this, and what do you think are learnings that others can take from this experience? Ms. Sani, if you can give us a reflection on that in 2 minutes.
Sure, thank you for the questions. And like I said through the presentations, so our practical experience is ethical educations is already already embedded within the communities, and what we did in this case is to explore and to connect the values from the community, the unique character of each community, and then try to discuss it through the dialogues within whole school approach, and then it can be an asset to in order to create ethic education learning that meaningful for the students. So that's what we did in this case. And even though my study cases is about the multicultural contracts, however, we already apply this kind of approach with in the multi-religious settings as well. So there's no there's no such standardized approach. However, we did by exploring from the values that already embedded within the unique characters of the community itself. So that's how we did. And in order to scaling up, because we are so huge, so we also partnering with the teacher training center in each province in Indonesia. We have 34 teacher training center in each provinces in Indonesia. So this is also helpful to scaling up what we did, and also we disseminate our experience or good practices through webinar as well in our country, so we can reach wider audience through the online and hybrid settings as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe one of the questions that is coming from the chat from our dear participants is what were some of the challenges? Maybe you can mention one or two challenges that you experienced as you implemented the ethics education in the Indonesia context. These challenges could span from financial, administrative, or even ethical dilemmas. Like just 1, 2, 3 challenges and strategies you deployed to be able to overcome the challenges. Thank you.
Oh, the challenge is also because, like I said before, the diversity is blessing, but also presents a lot of challenges because each of the regions has their unique characters and one standardized nationals intervention. It doesn't appropriate to provide the contextual learnings in any other education intervention, not only for ethic educations. So then we overcome this challenge by try to instilling the the bottom-up approach. So this is a new, thanks to the Arigato International that also provide us with the tools to provide meaningful dialogue, so we can conduct it in bottom-up approach as well. And I believe that the challenge is I already said that the one challenge is Indonesia diversity, and the second challenge is building teacher confidence and capacity to facilitate ethical dialogue. So this is our our concern as well. And then the third challenge is ensuring local ownership. So then what we do is to addressing to ensure that the ownership of the ethical education is not only lie within teacher or within school, but also the wider community that can also take part in this initiative or effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sani. And now just to reflect a little more on the presentation from Seychelles. And one question as we begin to you, Ms. Medon, is the school where you are a deputy head teacher in Seychelles was championing a whole school approach to implementing ethics education. Can you explain how this was done and lessons that others can take away from your experience?
Thank you for your questions. We adapted a whole school approach because we are a small school and we live the values every day. We from kindergarten, like age 3.5 to 11 to 12 years of students, so that every Thursday it is in our school timetable, on our school timetable, that value education is being taught. And rather than introducing ethics as a separate subject, we embedded it across the entire school. This meant involving school leadership, teachers, learners, support staff, parents, and the wider community. Everyone had a role in modeling and reinforcing ethical values. Our whole school approach included leadership commitment. The school management team led an initiative ensuring that ethics and values were integrated into school planning and decision making. Monthly values. Every Thursday, dedicated personnel and social education lessons focused on ethical values, for allowing learners to reflect on how these values could be practiced in everyday situations.
Okay, great. And some of the reflections and questions coming from the participants is how did you navigate into ensuring that the ethics curriculum is integrated? Were there any challenges and ethical dilemmas that you might have faced? And any other challenges you might have come through in terms of the building capacities of staff to be able to implement ethics education from the Seychelles context? Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. This is a teamwork approach. As every Monday, we at the senior team we meet and we plan what we're supposed to do. Another challenge was maintaining consistency. It is easy to launch activities, but sustaining them requires commitment. We overcame this by embedding values into our weekly PSC lessons, monthly assemblies, learner presentations, and student leadership programs, ensuring that ethics remain visible throughout the year.
Very interesting, and I think we are getting a lot of traction and quite a number of questions also. How do you assure impartiality when implementing ethics education? How was this assured in the Seychelles experience? And please, from Indonesia, Vani, feel free to jump in and also share the experiences on how impartiality was assured in your context.
Impartiality was very important throughout our program. We ensured that all activities and support were based on learners and families. Family needs rather than personal relationships or preferences. Every learner had an equal opportunity to participate in our values-based education, presentations, and community programs. When selecting learners for initiatives such as the behavior retreat or playground, wardens will use clear and transparent criteria agreed upon by the school leadership and teachers. We also worked collaboratively with staff to identify learners who would benefit most from specific interventions. For
Right.
community support,
Yes,
for community
carry on.
support, such as grocery donations and care hampers, decisions were made fairly and confidentially based on genuine need. We respected the dignity and privacy of individuals and avoided favorism. Above all, our school motto, Together as One, reminded us to treat every learner, a staff member, and family with fairness, respect, and equal dignity. That principle guided every decision we made. Thank you.
Excellent. Very good insights. And looking at how small actions here and there and commitments through the chain have contributed to that. And maybe we hear from Indonesia. What are the key things that or key steps taken to assure that there was impartiality in the implementation of the curriculum?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
What are some of the steps that you took and strategies employed to ensure there was impartiality in the implementation of the ethics education program?
Yeah, so what we did is through partnerings, both with within the intra-school levels, as well as partnerings with to build networks, a local network within school, as well as to partnering with teacher training center, and also we are under the collaborations with at national level with Ministry of Education. So through partnership, the dialogues, we try to keep like to integrate within our national curriculums as well. But we also touch the grounds with to always our objective is always towards contextualize ethic education learning to provide meaningful ethic education learning for students. So that's our efforts.
All right. Thank you very much as we end this session on the first two presenters. And you allow me to introduce the next presenters. We're going to have a presentation from Bangladesh, and thereafter another presentation from Mauritius. For Bangladesh, we're going to listen in from Mr. Shaful Alam, who is the Deputy Director, Planning and Development, Directorate of Secondary and Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Bangladesh. And just a little more information and update on Mr. Shafil. He's the Deputy Director in the Planning and Development Wing of the Directorate of Secondary and Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Bangladesh. He's an Associate Professor of Economics in the Government College System. He's also involved in the planning and development of National Education Reform Initiatives, including teacher professional development, ethics and empathy education, secondary education quality improvement. He has worked closely with national and international partners, including UNESCO, in developing policies and projects that promote inclusive, values-based, and sustainable education. His professional interests include education policy, project planning, teacher development, and education for sustainable development. And from Bangladesh, we are going to hear their experiences and practice from pilot to national policy, institutionalizing ethics education in Bangladesh's secondary education. Over to you, Mr. Shafil.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. This is Shafil. I would like to share today our journey. We started basically in 2022. Can I share my screen from here?
Yes, you can.
Yes, Shafil, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So it's been a very good journey. Since 2022, we had 2 pilots since then. First one was with 19 schools and 38 teachers. And after training of the teachers were engaged in the school with more than 200 students through an approach that we call Ethics Club. We established Ethics Club in each of those schools, and students, through the teacher activity booklet, they were participating in various activities that some of them you can see in the screen, few of those activities. And our result was very much encouraging. And after that, we had our report from Arigato, the Bangladesh case study, where you can see the summary of that is about, I hope you are seeing my screen, right? So 100% of the fellows that we were 5 fellows we were trained in Indonesia on this, and we actually reported an increased understanding of ethics education and how to integrate it into our training of teachers. And about the teachers, the 19 schools that were in the initial stage, they were from 5 regions.
Sorry, Shafil, can you put your slides on presentation mode?
Okay. Always okay. Slide control, right? Privilege. Give me a second. Oh, it's not changing, right? Okay, I'll go on this way. So can you see now? Yeah.
You can see, but it hasn't
Yeah.
changed.
All right.
Okay.
It should be changed now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll go this way. So our 38 teachers, they were 100% of them reported that an increased understanding of ethics education and the use of transformative pedagogy. And this is our success in the first phase. And from the learners' perspective, we had like more than 2,000 learners engaged. And the learner-led initiatives were like Plastic-Free Campus initiative, Honesty Store, and cleaning and greening the school facilities were the good practices. And personal initiatives by learners to support, vulnerable groups of learners also recorded, because some of the good students, they tried to teach their own, group class members that we call peer studies. And this was really outstanding. In some of the cases, we found that this was very much effective for the students who are less able to understand. So this was some cases. Now I would like to go to the few of the good case practices from one of our school. That is, they visited the old age home to meet the people as part of the empathy program. And, they campaigned around the school in other classes, sharing some emergency contact numbers with the students, and finally hanging the posters in different places of the school so that the awareness can be created among the students. And then we had campaigning and creating awareness about different issues, the current contextual issues like, say, no to drugs, creating awareness about students what to do during the earthquake, creating awareness about avoiding, roadside foods, which is very famous in our country, and hazardness and issues related to that was an issue that they want to create awareness among the students. And some of the other good case practices were helping the vulnerable people, and during the heat wave, when the day labor people were suffering, the students gathered together and they supplied cold water to them, food to them. And they also visited the orphanage to pass time with them. And the whole day they you can see here that the orphanage kids were whole day engagement with our students. So these are the some of the good case practices. They welcomed the newly admitted students in their school. That was another tradition they started in their school. They visited many different religious places like church, mosque, and temple, and regular gardening, keeping the school campus clean, removing dirts and everything from their classrooms. And so also about what to do during the fire, presentation about the dream school, what they want to see their schools like. So these are some good practices we found from the first phase. So what happened in the second phase? these ethics clubs continued their activities. They took it to a more extended areas, like from second phase, they extended their activities outside the classroom to the community. They visited many different communities and local areas, the problems. They started to share their experience with them, the local people. So, and beside that, there are some schools who are also, I'm not presenting here visually, but I want to explain to you that some of the schools are doing very well in climate change issues, like they are planting trees around their schools, and they are following up with the nurturing of those plantation program. And some of the schools are doing other cases, like the local community service they are also doing. So these are the many of the good case practices that are taking place in our classes just because of the ethics club activities that took part in the country. But if you want to compare our number of population in our country, student population, this is 20 million, note that, and the number of schools are like more than 30,000 schools. So those first pilot was only 19 schools, 19, and second phase was 24 institutes. So altogether, these 39 institutes were engaged in our project. So this is a very little number. So that's what we advocated to our policymakers, saying that, you see, that this is showing a very great result from our participation. So we want to scale it up so that we can really take it to the as much possible to the schools, so that many of the students can really understand the necessity and the effectiveness and the impact, positive impact of these activities. So when we took it to our policy level, our government, the newly elected government, present government, they took it very seriously. Actually, they had it in their election manifesto earlier, before coming to the power. They had their issues. One of the main agenda was learning with happiness. So when we talked about this project, they found it very much relevant, which is quite equal to the understanding of the government. So initially, this was discussed in our meeting, and the government has decided to take it to an extended scale. That the decision was that rather than letting the pilot remain a small success, Bangladesh's newly governments choose to scale it up into fully government-funded national, institutional reform. So there is a project we called institutionalization of ethics education in secondary schools. So it will be implemented by the Directorate of Secondary and Higher Education under the Ministry of Education, and it is aligned with our government's manifesto that is learning with happiness. Also, it is quite easily aligned with the SDG 4.7, which is global citizenship, peace, and human rights. So the 5 core strategies we have set here in this project. Oh, by the way, the project is about $4 million, totally government funded, and it is going to be for 3 years, starting from 2026 to 2029. So this new project will focus on 5 core strategy areas. First one is the national learning materials. We'll develop the teacher manuals, teacher training guides, of course, taking support from the Arigato, technical support from the Arigato, and we will produce age-appropriate modules for grade 6 to 10 students in our context. And beside that, we will arrange the teacher capacity building for 8,000 teachers through a transformative pedagogical approach and experiential. And we'll establish more 2,000 ethics club in schools, engaging nearly 100,000 students in dialogue, reflection, and community service. And we will also have the monitoring and evaluation team with the newly prepared and developed baseline, midline, and endline tools that we've been using in the pilot from the Arigato, but we will now develop our own tools for monitoring and evaluation. And finally, our ultimate target is to integrate it in our curriculum, in the national curriculum. So these are the 5 core strategic areas. So embedding ethics into the system is our target. So it's not treated as a separate subject. Instead, it is embedded in the existing system through the curricular activities, teacher practice, and school lectures. So teacher will be a facilitator for learning. So key lesson would be like ethics cannot be taught effectively through lectures only. Students learn ethics by experiencing it. That we've been doing. So for sustainability issue, I can assure that the existing institutions will be engaged in this project through government systems, not a parallel structure, but through the government structure, and teacher training that will be integrated into the national professional development system for lasting impact, because we have the National Academy for Education and Management for teacher training, and we have national university and teacher training colleges around the country who are engaged with the teacher training. We'll use those technical know-hows and resources and materials so for the sustainability. And Ethics Club will be one of the issue that become our part of our regular co-curricular activities, even beyond the project period. And of course, the digital materials that we are planning to develop, the monitoring system and the other materials, they will be our repository even after the project ends. So one of the great issue in our country that really we had great support from our policymakers, our stakeholders, is the respective diversity, promoting universal values. As you know, in our social, cultural, and religious context, it is indeed our tradition of the, our living together in a peaceful and good way for a long time. For last 55 years of independence, we've been living in very harmonious way in our country with diverse religious practices. So this practice in the school arena has created a new, interest for our students. So this is really helping us great. So our bigger vision is not just changing a good behavior, but it is to promote our young people to become ethical leaders, responsible citizen, global citizen, and compassionate human being is the ultimate target. So this is gonna be a model for others. We would like to say that our political commitment, our institutional ownership, our strong partnership with our development partners and our other, fellow country, this is really is going to be a good model for others. We hope so. So ultimately, ethics is not merely something we teach, it is something we cultivate through the way we learn, so lead and live together. So Bangladesh is at the beginning of this journey because it is going to be a long journey ahead, and we look forward to learning from and sharing it with the global community. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shafil. Really an amazing sharing, and keen to learn that there is now a great government investment in the ethics education program in Bangladesh. I think that's a very good win and already scaled in terms of policy practice and delivery at the classroom level. So we will move on to our next speaker. We're going to hear from Mauritius, and Mauritius' presentation will focus on ethics 360 degrees, a cultural map, a field trip pack, school exchanges, and students' clubs. The presentation will be made by Mr. J. Ramsaha, who is a senior lecturer, head of department or social studies department, Mauritius Institute of Education. Mr. Ray serves as a senior lecturer and head of the social studies department at the Mauritius Institute of Education. Since his appointment in 2009, he has made a sustained and significant contribution to the advancement of national educational discourse through his active involvement in curriculum development, research, pedagogical innovation, and teacher education. His work is characterized by a strong commitment to the integration of transformative learning frameworks with particular emphasis on intercultural understanding, human rights, global citizenship, peace building, and ethical reasoning. He has played a central role in the conceptualization, implementation, and evaluation of national initiatives that position education as a key driver of social cohesion and democratic engagement. His collaborative approach is reflected in his partnerships with governmental institutions, civil society organizations, and international agencies. Through these engagements, he has contributed to both policy development and capacity building initiatives at national, regional, and international levels. So the floor is yours, Mr. K, to share the experience of Mauritius. Over to you.
Thank you, Virginia, for the presentation. Good afternoon, good evening to all around the world. And I will share my screen with you. Hopefully, I won't exceed the 10 minutes or a little bit more. So my presentation would be basically about what we've been doing for the last 4 years in Mauritius in terms of ethics education, but more precisely in terms of good practice. We believe that's a good practice, a good example of what we were able to achieve, what we are achieving this year in 2026. But before jumping to what we've been doing this year, I just want to share in terms of where we started and where we have reached now in 2026. So like all of you, we started in 2022, and that at that time in Indonesia, Yogyakarta, I think it was in August, we came up with the idea, Rajiv, I know is in the meeting, and at that time we were there with Rajiv. We came up with the idea of developing a cultural map for Mauritius, a map that would be used to identify the main cultural, historical sites of the island, just to show the richness of the island in terms of cultural diversity. That was in 2022. 2023, we started with 24 educators and 8 academics from the MIE. We had workshops, training session, and we implemented ethics education in 8 pilot schools at that time. We reached out to around 200 students, and there was school implementation in terms of whole school approach, classroom level, so many activities that happened in 2023. That was what we call the phase 1. In 2024, we move on and scale it up a little bit more by introducing new teacher education modules. We have, for example, ethics education for the PGC courses. We had a new elective module, field trip as an elective, global citizenship as a module. We had also new modules for the TVET sector, ethics in the TVET sector. So many new modules that were introduced and running since 2024, like core modules or elective modules. We had also teachers that were roped in as part of the courses. They came up with something very innovative and interesting that I will show you and go into more detail later on. And we have also, like in 2023, a series of workshops for educators in terms of ethics education. 2025, we went bigger in the sense that we went for more schools, more educators, and in 2025 we also included the 8 colleges from Rodrigue Island. For those who doesn't know, Rodrigue Island is part of the Republic of Mauritius. It is an island which is found it's around 1.5 hour flight from Mauritius. So there we have only 8 colleges, and all 8 colleges participated in the ethics education project in 2025. And also in 2025, the group of fellows, we were 10 at that time in Mauritius, we sat for months. We met at least once a week, and we developed what we call the Port Louis Cultural Field Trip Pack. So from the initial 2022 cultural map, we came up with a 194 page document, which we call the Port Louis Cultural Field Trip Pack. In 2026, we developed, there were curriculum development, in terms of the new foundation program. This was introduced as the values and citizenship education modules course at school level for the lower secondary. We added also ethics education, I forgot to mention, in the life skills education, and in the life skills education we do have also components of ethics education. We continued with our workshops with educators. We introduced new modules. For example, this year we also introduced ethics in the science sector for a certificate course, and also we went for something different this year where we had 50 new schools at a pilot base, on a pilot base, where we wanted to implement ethics school clubs and ethics school exchange program. And from the cultural map of 2022 that became the Port Louis Field Trip Pack in 2025, in 2026 we digitalized the whole thing. So this is in a very nutshell what we did since 2022. Now I will go into more details in terms of the good practice that we think is worth sharing and very innovative. So why we consider it as a good practice, good case practice? Because it is innovative. So we've decided to go in an holistic way by adopting a blended approach, digital, experiential, and participatory. So we have developed new materials, new resources which are accessible both online and on paper also. It is inclusive because the resources has multiple formats, but also it gives the possibility for those, for example, having who cannot read, who have reading difficulties. We have also considered including the vocal in our online resources. Impact oriented because it focuses entirely on student engagement, putting the learner at the center, which is one of the pillar of ethics education, and also through real life ethical understanding and real life examples that I will show you one or two examples afterwards. And sustainable in the sense that whatever we are creating, we have created, we expect that it is being it will be used by not only learners within the school context but outside the school context, and we are expecting also to rope in other stakeholders and other partners for what we intend to do next. Why 360? Why we came up with that idea of ethics 360 degree Mauritius? Because we adopted that holistic approach, that inclusive and multi-dimensional approach in terms of that would be our kit. The 360 degree Mauritius ethics would be the kit where we will have all the different components that we develop. We will have the field trip pack, the school club manual, the school exchange program guideline, the dedicated website. We of course continue with the teacher training, curriculum development, and the capacity building workshops for educators. So that's why we thought of having that type of label 360 degrees, because we are not looking in only one direction, but we are having a multi-dimensional approach to ethics education. Why so, if you allow me, is that over the years we've noticed that scaling up doesn't necessarily means having a greater impact, but instead we thought that scaling up is important, but also the quality should be there. From listening from educators, we've noticed that they always say that they're already doing a lot at school. They're already busy with exam, preparing the learners for the exam and of your exam. So we thought of adopting an approach which would enable the learners and the teachers to have the leeway of learning, engaging in ethics education at their own pace maybe, but also differently through, for example, field trips. So that's why we came up with the idea of ethics 360 degree Mauritius. So again, coming back to the initial idea of a simple cultural map, that for those who've come to Mauritius, you see the first thing that they will offer tourists at the airport is a map of Mauritius with all the landmarks, with all the important sites to visit. So that was the initial idea that came up in 2022 in Indonesia, but finally it moved on into something more complex, the Port Louis Cultural Field Trip Pack. As I mentioned, it is a 194-page document meant for educators. That is specifically for educators, where you have all the information about 21 sites identified in the city of Port Louis, the capital of Mauritius, where it is a pedagogical resource where you have the pre-visit, the during the visit, and the post-visit activities that is being offered in the manual, in the pack, where educators can use this pack whenever they want to go and visit religious, cultural, and historical places in Port Louis. Why Port Louis? Because Port Louis is the best example of the multiculturalism that exists in Mauritius. You go to the city of Port Louis, you will have an idea of what is Mauritius about in terms of the different religions, the different cultures, the different people that you might cross from Mauritius and outside Mauritius. So that's why we went for Port Louis, but also because Port Louis has been identified as one of the different 21 sites, I think, around the world for the UNESCO Culture Agenda 2030. So this is the first item in the Ethics 360-degree Mauritius kit, the Port Louis Cultural Field Trip Pack, which is for the time being on a paper version that educators get access, educators can use, but this also will be transformed, you will see later, into a digital version. The second element that we developed this year is the Ethics Education Club Manual. So this year we have 15 pilot schools participating in that phase where we want to introduce the ethics clubs in these 17 schools. This has already been done since the month of April-May. They have introduced the ethics club in these 15 schools. These 15 schools are girls' schools, co-education schools, boys' schools, different profile of schools that we wanted to pilot the ethics club this year. For many of them, they have already identified 2 facilitators, 2 educators for each school that would facilitate the ethics club. So in this manual, in this document of 20+ pages, you have all the guidelines, how to set up the club, how to structure the club, a series of possible activities that are being provided for the clubs. And this is therefore for the school who the 15 schools, who have set up the ethics club. Along with the Ethics Education Club Manual, we have also developed the Ethics Education Exchange Program. After hearing from the educators over the different workshops we had with them over the years, they've mentioned that in the past there were this habit of visiting one school, visiting another school. So we came up with that guideline, which would be a standard way of implementing school exchange program within the Ethics Education Club, or any school that would want to go for exchange program among schools. So we believe that this is an idea that existed before, long ago, but we didn't have anything formal, and that practice got lost over the years. So it was no more there in terms of school exchange program. But in 2025, we noticed that through the ethics education program, many schools reinitiated that exchange program in a very informal way. So we decided to develop that guideline for schools, the 15 participating schools, and as from next year, giving it to all schools in Mauritius, whoever would want to go for exchange program, and in a more formal and structured way. Everything is provided in the guideline in terms of authorization, in terms of procedures, in terms of protocols, in terms of abiding to the laws, existing laws in Mauritius, in terms of activities also. So this is the ethics education exchange program for the schools. And lastly, we have also the Port Louis Cultural Field Trip Pack that we have digitalized. We still need, it's completed, but there are always, whenever we go through, there are things that can be polished. Let's say it this way. So I'll just take you through the website, show you one or two examples of what we have been able to achieve. So this is the website. The Ethics 360 Mauritius is the cover page. The website name is mauritiusculturetrip.mu, and let me tell you that was a big challenge to come up with this website, because in terms of creating the website, mounting all the different sites, the 21 sites that was initially on a paper version. So this is the website. So we came up with this format because we thought that Port Louis is only the starting point. That website would enable us at a later stage to add more cultural sites, more items on the website. But for the time being, it's about Port Louis. So this is the Port Louis, and this is the interactive map of Port Louis. So we have an interactive map of Port Louis where you can scroll. You scroll to any site. For example, I will go, I don't know, let's take, you have all the 21 sites, the church, the temple, the mosque and everything. Just take you, before we go to the sites, to what we have put in terms of aligning with UNESCO agenda. We have all the literature. If you can read, I scroll quickly. In terms of ethical pillars, we don't forget that everything that has been done is in line with the ethics education projects, in line with the ethical pillars. We have also, move this one here.
Jay, if you have 2 minutes.
Yes, quickly. Okay, one example, I'll take one example for the mosque. These are all the sites. So the Juma Masjid, so you have the background information, the pre-visit activities, which is there for the teachers, and you have also the interactive activities. This is what I wanted to show you, where you can write your answers, then you get whether it's the correct or the wrong answer. So this is the website that has been created. So coming back to the presentation, so what we need, needs that we wanted to address is that through the different workshops, we noticed that the critical thinking was not necessarily there in terms of school activities. So we went for an holistic approach, as I mentioned, through school visit also, by monitoring what was done in terms of school activities, but also by developing these materials. So what we want to achieve is promote values such as respect, citizenship, cultural awareness, encouraging critical thinking, ethical reflection, supporting student-led dialogue and peer learning through school clubs, integrating ethics into both formal and informal learning through the website and the provided resources that will be available to the teachers. The 15 schools are already using the ethics clubs, through the ethics club, or using the materials. So the expected outcome is increased teacher and student engagement in terms of ethics related activities. And also in a nutshell, is that giving them all the resources so like they can implement in a easier way the ethics education activities, be it at school level, through school exchange program, through the school clubs, or by using the website. So it's really an holistic approach, so like we don't overburden them also during school hours. That was something that we wanted to achieve. And lastly, the 360 would support, because in terms of accessibility, in terms of experiential learning that would be provided, the digital innovation. And let me tell you that we are also thinking at a later stage how far this would be possible to include chat box in the website. So like use of AI, so like the learners become more autonomous, there would be that possibility of using AI to guide the learners during the journey through the website. And we are expecting to include other sites apart from Port Louis, add more sites that are worth considering around the island, be culturally, from a cultural perspective, religious perspective in the website. So that's my presentation for the good case in terms of Mauritius. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jay. Indeed, a very exciting and innovative idea in terms of the 360, the digitalization of the cultural map for Mauritius. I think this is a very unique outcome case, and I'm certain that many of us would be wanting to learn more and maybe also interact online with the platform that you have shared. Now, these are specific questions to our two presenters, that is Mr. Jay and Shafil. And I'll begin for a question to Shafil regarding Bangladesh, from piloting with a number of schools to then mainstreaming into large-scale teacher training programs in Bangladesh, as well as securing support from the leadership. There's much achievements Bangladesh has made. How was this done, and what are your recommendations for others to look into as champions of ethics education?
Thank you. Actually, it was the effort of our teachers and our fellows, and of course our stakeholders. We advocated to our policymakers, our leaders, that this is creating a good understanding for our students in the classroom, as well as for the teachers and families. And this has been showing a great prospect for our future. So if we can scale it up to much extended area in our country, as we have a large student population, so it can create a future that will be a very peaceful living for all our students. This was one of the idea that we tried to share with our leaders. And actually what happened, our present government came with the initiative. They planned it earlier, even before our initiative, because we can see from their manifesto that they've been trying to incorporate these moral issues, the value-based education and the happiness in the learning, and creating a safe learning environment for students have been in their agenda from the very beginning. So that's why it became easier for us to align with the government initiative. I think this is one of the great reasons that we became successful to have this project right now. Thank you.
Maybe one more question to reflect is how easy was it in terms of getting the goodwill and the buy-in of policymakers in advancing the ethics education?
I mean, going forward with this one, we have prepared this plan to start as soon as possible, maybe within the 2026 timeline. We'll start the project office, and we'll have our experienced people, taking this initiative forward. And we hope that we'll be able to make it more sustainable, make it more, extended to maximum schools in our country. Our ultimate target is taking it to the integration of the curriculum. So it will be challenging for us, because after this project ends, we have to show the continuous improvement of our journey, so that we can ultimately take it to the curriculum finally.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Shafil. And maybe just a reminder to all the participants, after the key question and reflection from Mauritius, we are going to open the floor to all the participants, those who have questions and reflections to share. So you will be having an opportunity to raise your hand, to be unmuted to speak, or post your questions on the chat. And maybe one key question to Mauritius, and thanks Jay for hearing about this cultural map. Just to understand, you've named it Mauritius 360, including the Port Louis Field Trip Park, the Ethics Club, the school exchange guidelines and website. This seems to be a very innovative practice. Maybe if you can help us understand how this is relevant to Mauritius. I know you've mentioned that, but you can expound a bit. But also reflect a bit on how other stakeholders from non-education, like tourism, culture, and all that, can be engaged in the implementation of this initiative. Thank you.
Yeah. So to put in context, like Mauritius is a multicultural society, and we've noticed that students, learners at school, within the classroom, they are from different background, different ethical background, but also from different social background. So we've noticed that many learners, they don't know much about the culture of others. So by coming up with that cultural map, it's a way also for us to enable the learners to discover the other cultures and respecting the difference that might exist between them. As an example, many never thought that they would be able to visit a mosque, non-Muslim students. And we saw that last year when the educators implemented a field trip, they went to visit mosque, they went to visit, for example, pagodas, they went to visit all these religious places that they never visited before. Through this visit, they were able to better understand the culture of their friends, but also learn that there are many things in common, many values that are common to the different religions. So that is where we thought of having that Port Louis Cultural Park, because also in terms of geographical location, the Port Louis capital is a place that from anywhere in Mauritius you will get easy access to the capital. So that was the starting point, but also it came afterwards, but also keeping in mind that Port Louis has been identified as the UNESCO Agenda 2030 when it comes to cultural sites. So this is one thing. The second thing is also at a later stage, we hope to have other stakeholders in the project. For example, Ministry of Art and Culture and the mayor, the municipality of Port Louis. So like we can go for even more sites, cultural sites in Port Louis. For example, through this process, we discovered that there are unique places in Mauritius, but these unique places in Mauritius are unique to the Indian Ocean and unique to maybe Africa or the Southern Hemisphere. As an example, there is also in Port Louis, one of the sites is the Sikh temple, the unique Sikh temple of Mauritius. But when visiting the place, we also discovered that behind that Sikh temple, we have an Orthodox church, which is unique to Mauritius. And also in Mauritius, we have also one UNESCO protected site, the Apravasi Ghat. And next to the Apravasi Ghat, we also have the Museum of Slavery. So these are unique sites which makes our identity as Mauritian people. So we believe that it's very important for the learners to discover these places, but at the same time we are putting forward all these ethical pillars in terms of respect, in terms of empathy, in terms of developing these key values which we believe are very important in our context. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jay. And now we want to open the floor for a plenary dialogue. Dear participants, please feel free to raise your hand and then you'll be unmuted to pose your question and reflection. The floor is open for the plenary conversation.
Yes, you can raise your hand or let us know in the chat and we'll be giving you speaking rights so you can speak. Yeah, Please go ahead, Nadege.
Nadege, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Yes, the question is, how do you do nowadays with the social ills like the mobile phone in schools and like drugs, you know. How do you cope with it? The other country, I want to hear from them, please. Thank you.
Then this is it's open to the panelists to share or anyone from the floor who has a reflection on how to deal with the mobile phones and devices in schools. Yes, Jay.
Can I maybe, yeah. Uh, in Mauritius, for example, there are policies that are being developed in terms of use of mobile phone at school. So we are well aware of the dangers of mobile phone. Because we are going digitalized, we also consider that aspect. But there's also the fact that nowadays, at least in Mauritius, technology is very much present. So everyone has at least one or two mobile phone. Though access is limited to school, but still the government is looking at this issue and trying to come up with the best solution when it comes to use of mobile phone. So maybe for us, we also consider that aspect of the dangers of mobile phone, but we believe that technology, we cannot go without technology, and technology is part of the learning tools, very important today. At least for Mauritius, technology is already in our classroom through interactive whiteboards, through access to internet, etc. So at least at policy level, I believe there would be more changes coming in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lusik, I think we have a hand up.
Yes, Rajiv, please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. Like, is my voice being heard properly?
We can hear you well.
Is it?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
Rajiv, we can
Good
hear you.
afternoon from Mauritius, dear colleagues. Thank you, the four presenters, and for the beautiful presentation. And before I try to answer to the queries of my colleague from Seychelles, Kimania Seychelles, to correct, I'll just try to thank all the stakeholders, Arigato, UNESCO, regional officers for the support to having helped us so far in the endeavor that Jay presented. Coming back to the issue of mobile phones, we are coming up with legislations to restrict the use of mobile phones in schools. There are private schools where they already have their own policies. In public schools, might be a little bit difficult because of the public outcry and also student outcry. But we're also working on another aspect. That is how to teach the learners that mobile phone is a tool and not something that you can use only to harm. Because if I'm not mistaken, 2 years back when we were talking about hate speech in Kenya, like we are going to come up with the cyberbullying workshop, where one of the theme will be how to combat hate speech using the mobile phones. I repeat, how to combat hate speech through education using mobile phones. That is going to be something new, because very often mobile phones are used as a how would I say, as something to harm. But we need to teach the learners that it's not only used to harm, but also as a productive tool, as an alert tool, and also as a companion in learning. Nevertheless, it won't be allowed in schools all day long. It will be allowed only for pedagogical purposes, only during lesson times. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajiv, for that
Thank
insight.
you.
Yeah, and of course, yes, the mobile phone and devices are tools for learning, not for harming. And I think the best consideration is on ethical considerations for the use of AI and digital technology. I think we have one more hand from the floor. Sushit?
Yes, Pandav Rasai, please. Rasali.
Hello. Am I audible?
You are. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Jess. Thank you for your very insightful presentations. So the term you have used, ethics club, is new term for me. So we usually have adolescent club, child club, right? This type of club, but this ethics club is new terms for me. So I think this ethic educations we also can implement through the child club and this adolescent club, right? And my another question is, could you please share the document or guideline, anything you have regarding the ethics clubs? That would be helpful for us. Thank you.
Yes, Pandav, it would be wonderful to know where you're from as well. Then I think Jay
Yeah,
will be
I'm from
also.
World Vision, Nepal.
Wonderful, Pandav. Thank you. Jay, so there's a question for you, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't hear properly, but is it about
How
the
ethics club? It's about ethics club because we usually have a adolescent child club here in Nepal, but this ethics club is new term for me. And regarding ethics educations, we also implement that through the child club, adolescent club, right? And I also appreciate if you could share the documents regarding ethics club.
Yeah. I think once all the document that we have prepared, because it is endorsed by Arigato, UNESCO, all the partners engaged in the project. I believe once it is finalized, because we are planning to have the official launching during the school vacation in August, but the date have not been finalized yet because we still have to go to Rodrigue Island also to do the launching there. So once it is launched with all the messages that we are still expecting from the minister, for example, from different partners to include in the document, once everything is put together and finalized, of course it will be put, and I believe access will be to all. It will be an open access to all. So yes, you will get access to all the documents.
So one thing, could you please share what are the age group of ethics club members?
Yeah, I forgot to mention. So our project, we started our project at secondary level. So for lower secondary level, because at lower secondary level we have two key components which enables the integration of ethics education, which is social and modern studies education and life skills education. And now with the foundation, the third one that started this year is values and citizenship education. So these are the existing curriculum subjects, the subjects taught at school that we believe can be used to enhance ethics education. But we had also example last year of Asian language teachers. For example, the Tamil teacher, she was engaged in the ethics education and she took her class of Tamil education to visit mosque, to visit pagodas. So it's really, I would say, open to all, to any educators at lower secondary level who would want to go for field trips, who would want to go and visit these places.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Any more hands? All right, if not, allow me to take a minute to invite us all as participants. From the reflections we've had, the beautiful presentation and all the insights, if we could just post one word in the chat of our takeaway or one key thing that we learned from this session. Just a minute to post it on the chat, and then we're gonna have a session on key reflections, hearing from the panelists that we've had from. So just one word on the chat on our key takeaway and key learning from this session. It's doable, it takes willingness, experience, an interesting presentation. Courage, insightful, different paths and models that can be used to scale ethics education, ethical engagement of learners, mobile use, sensitivity to learners' needs, the whole school approach, impartiality, ethics education is inclusive. Excellent. Let's keep them coming. We'll keep taking a record of all that is coming from the floor. And maybe just to move on to our closing reflections, I want to invite our dear panelists to give us a parting shot as we proceed with the session. If we can start with Indonesia, Ms. Fanny, to give us your parting shot.
Thank you again. Please allow me to emphasize again that in ethic education, I believe there's no fixed formula on how to make it effective, and that's because our approach is based on the community best. So every community has its own culture and tradition and way of learning. So by building on this strength through dialogue, collaboration, and shared responsibility, we believe that we can connect local value within broader educational goals to provide meaningful and contextual learnings for students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We take note that there is no one size fits all. There is need for reflective learning, engaging learners, and also being very inclusive in the way we approach ethics education. Let's hear from Mrs. Nandega.
Thank you. Just to say that there's nothing impossible. If you want to do something, you can do it. And like in Seychelles, we are a small country, and we have tried our best, and we look forward to do more about ethics education and to share ideas among other schools in Seychelles, the best practice we can do together to raise awareness. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nandega. We take note from you of the world of possibilities and the willingness and goodwill to take forth initiatives. And clearly, this is well reflected from the Seychelles experience. Thank you very much. And over to Mr. Shafil, Bangladesh.
Thank you. We want to bring ethics to our students as a practice because we have seen that there are many good scriptures of religious scriptures and very good books around the world, but still people are not practicing in their daily life. So we think that ethics is something to practice in daily classroom, in daily practices, in the community, in the family. So that's why we believe that if we can make our students practicing daily with the reflection, with the in their daily activities, in their personal life, in their families, then really we can make them become a global citizen and of course an inclusive society. That's my understanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shafil, for those insights. Of course, looking at the totality of the human person and looking at how different components in the community interplay. You've mentioned the family, you've mentioned religion, you've mentioned culture, and all these influence the human person. So looking at also ethics education as a part of lifelong learning opportunity would be very key, such that it's not a school environment initiative, but also a lived reality within the school and without the school context. Thank you very much. And over to you, Jay, to give us your reflection.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I think for Mauritius, ethics education, we are trying to put forward the transformative power of ethics education. In Mauritius, very often we used to say that the society is sick, and very often we tend to put the blame on the youth, on the younger generation, saying that they have lost all the traditional values, all the respect for the elders, etc., etc. So I think through ethics education, we are trying to put forward the transformative power that this can bring to the society at large. So that's why we've tried to reach the maximum persons, like be it the educators, the learners, the school community, and through the website, hopefully it will be accessible to all. So we really want to have an impact in society through ethics education.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Thank you.
The interplay again between communities, the societies, and the individual, that comes a lot more in the fore of the conversation. And maybe to reflect a bit more on some of the key things that also have come is the issue of the power of transformative teaching. And I believe now again, not only the pedagogy, but also the assessment and building learners' competencies in terms of value-based education, promoting student leadership in the ethics education initiative, and this builds learner confidence and maybe also improves their competencies in terms of interpersonal skills within the school and without the school environment. We have also seen key mentions on community learning pathways. We've had issues where students have participated in outreach communities that have been affected by climate change issues, the heat wave, the support, the visitation to communities. I think helping learners also build their capacities in terms of empathizing and lived realities of others in the community. And I want to also say learning outcomes become key because an ethically lived learning also makes sure that a learner has better and positive learning outcomes. And I want to believe also one of the key components that we also need to bring to the fore as we continue implementation is the engagement with the parents, parental engagement, because we're also expecting that parents are going to support us in improving the learning outcomes of our students. And really to thank all the presenters and the panelists. And maybe before I hand over back to Sanjani for any announcements, we wouldn't want to forget to thank all the partners that have been engaged in ethics education from the 6 countries and globally from all the stakeholders in the countries, ministries of education, teachers, directors, and the partners, to mention them, Arigato International, Kaisi Dialogue Center, the Gareth Ames Foundation for Peace, Higher Committee of Human Fraternity, and UNESCO. And of course, to mention the learners, who are the key people that we are building agency in terms of ethics education. Over to you, Sanjani, for any announcements and closure.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you for the excellent moderation of today's webinar. Virginia is from UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa, who is our moderator today. And I like to thank all the panelists from implementation countries of the Ethics Education Fellowship, Ms. Sani, Ms. Nadej from Seychelles, Mr. J from Mauritius, and finally Mr. Shafil from Bangladesh for sharing good case practices and wonderful experiences from your countries. As the final announcement, I like to inform that we will be sharing more webinars in the coming months, and we invite all of you to join for these upcoming webinars. We hope to have it as a series where you can learn more from the countries, more about the advocacy and the implementation, more on ethics education and how you can implement it in your countries. Also, I like to invite, if there's any teacher or any official from the Ethics Education Fellowship implementation countries, please share your good case practices. We like to hear more from you, and we hope to collect as much as possible. And if we have a lot of good case practices, we can share it with other countries as well as the attendees we have today. And in coming days, we will be sharing the summary of this webinar and key highlights from the webinar. So I'd like to thank everybody once again for joining this one wonderful discussion today. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.